Hello everyone, I am the Bandit Kirby, and welcome to my channel, The Commander Tavern. The Commander Tavern is a channel dedicated to my favorite Magic the Gathering format. On this episode of Barkeep Upkeep, I'm going to present a way for everyone to save more money and build more decks by recycling your mana base. So if you want to see how to save a bunch of money and build even more decks, stick around. If you like any of the cards I'll be mentioning throughout the video, please consider using my TCG Player affiliate link when purchasing those cards. You can find that link down in the description. It'll really help out the channel. The best way you can help support the channel is with my Patreon. For just $1, patrons get early access to certain videos on YouTube. In fact, patrons got a chance to see this video earlier. You can also support my channel for free by simply liking, subscribing, and sharing, which also helps out a lot. You can join my Discord server for free if you want to join the Commander Tavern community. All pertinent links are down in the description. Alright, let's get back to the episode. Okay, first let's see what I mean when I say recycling one same mana base. In this Fat Pack box that I have here, you'll notice that I have almost everything I need to play a game. I have here all my 20-sided dice for life counters. I have here my erasable infinite tokens for counters. I have the tokens here, erasers. I got a marker somewhere over here. Here I have the dungeon cards. But then here, which is the main reason you're probably watching the video, so I got some shiny dungeon cards here, is the mana base for pretty much all of my decks. Which are these. So for example, here I have all the mana rocks that are recycled between all of my decks. Here are all the dual lands that are recycled through all of my decks. Here are all the fetch lands that are recycled through all of my decks. And then here are the shock lands that are recycled through all of my decks because, well, these are basically fetchable lands, right? And then here we have some other lands that most decks use. Ancient Tomb, Reflecting Pool, Mana Confluence, City of Brass, and then Gaia's Cradle, which is used in maybe 2 green decks. So instead of getting another one, I'll just recycle it from here. So how is it then that I can use all of these for all of my decks? And what's the point of having them? For example, here, they're in top loaders to make it easier to find. Well, let's see an example. Let me take my Zurgo Helm Smasher deck as an example so you can see how it is that I recycle all of these lands for all of my decks. Currently, I have 12 decks that are built in paper. I have a couple that I want to build, but thanks to having these like this, for example, if I want to build my Alana and Helana deck, I don't have to worry about the fetch lands because I already have them here. I don't have to worry about getting that Taiga because I have it somewhere around here. So this helps me in not having to worry about getting the mana base for those decks or those new decks that I want to build. So here's my Zurgo Helm Smasher deck. Now I haven't made a deck tech video for Zurgo yet, but if you want to see one, let me know down in the comments. So let's take the deck out and see how it is that I recycle it. Now this deck here does not have any of those lands in the Fat Pack. But let's say, for example, we're shifting through the deck, and then notice here, this is how I recycle all of my mana bases. Notice here I have an official WotC placeholder card, and I just write Bloodstained Mire on it. Same with Plateau, or if I have something else, let's say Flooded Strand, Prismatic Vista, Mana Crypt, Mana Confluence, Wooded Foothills, etc., etc. That way I only need one of them. I don't need as many as I would need for a deck. So for example, if you have this in your hand, right, let's say, give this a good shuffle. Well, not a good shuffle, at least, something to proof of concept. Let's call it that way, right? You have your library here. Drawing 7 cards, right? Assuming the opponent has cut it. If we look at my hand, notice, this is a keeper. I have a Prismatic Vista and I have an Ancient Tomb. So let's say you start the game, you draw your card for your first turn, and you want to play Ancient Tomb. You just play it, and then on top of the placeholder card, I would go to my Fat Pack, grab Ancient Tomb, and voila, there it is. Then once the game is over, I take all of these cards that are like this in top loaders, put them back, shuffle this back in, and that's it, I'm done. So that way I can have all of my mana bases between all of my decks with just one copy of each of those mana bases, whether it's mana rocks, lands, etc., etc. Now, I understand that not everyone will be able to have all the same lands I do. Well, that's fine, because all you really need is whatever lands you do use. Let's say, for example, instead of the dual lands, you have the battle bond lands, the ones that enter untapped if you have 2 or more opponents. You can have just one copy of each of them, and those could be like the dual lands that you have. Let's say you can't have the fetch lands, but you can still have the shock lands or the tango lands. Basically, any lands that you want. You don't have to buy multiple copies of them. Even if it's just a $5 land, that's still $5 that you're saving for building a new deck. So this is pretty much what I do in order to have that mana base for each of my decks, because it doesn't matter how janky, how competitive, or how casual your decks are, a solid mana base is the foundation of any good deck. And if you want your deck to run and you don't want to really spend that much, let's say you can only afford one shock land or one copy of each shock land, then great, you only need one, because then you can have them all recycled throughout all of your decks and you don't have to worry about buying them for each particular deck. So that's pretty much my solution, and it's worked great for me, because either way I have this fat pack over here with all the useful stuff in it anyways, like I showed earlier. I even have these meeples for when I'm, venturing into the dungeon. So that's worked for me, it's worked great. Now I just have to worry about, the cards I might be missing for building the deck that isn't necessarily, lands or mana rocks. So hopefully this video has been helpful and you can use this for your own needs.
To all you viewers, I hope this video has been helpful in making it easier for you to build more commander decks without having to constantly buy the same mana base over and over and over again. This is how I've been able to build more decks, so hopefully the same can work for you too. Once you don't have to worry about having to buy more copies of X or Y land, you can focus on building the actual meat of the deck you're brewing. I would like to thank all my patrons for supporting me, and a quick shout out to all my higher tier patrons, the brewers, for their patronage. I'd also like to thank anyone using my TCG Player affiliate link, that also helps out the channel. And to everyone, thanks for watching this episode of Barkeep Upkeep on the Commander Tavern. I am the Benedict Kirby, and thanks for listening.